Everybody, I'm doing good. I'm doing good.
Yeah.
I'm alive on Channel 5. You know how I used to say it? I'm alive on Channel 5. How have you been,
At
Janika?
least in the same.
Oh, yeah, at least in St. Louis. That's what we would say.
Doing good, doing good. I can be on uninterrupted today.
Okay. No, that's cool. So today I'm actually going to do something really cool. I'm gonna need you all's help because I'm actually going to record the Black Friday offer today. So I'm going to do that presentation today for you guys and get you all's feedback. So if it's trash, you can tell me. So because this is how you get better, right?
It's true.
So the only way
I'm
you
sorry,
get better
Ron.
is through practice. Huh?
Excuse me, I'm sorry. Will you make me co-host so you're not
Yeah,
interrupted as you're
yeah,
going
yeah. I
through?
gotta, I gotta fix some stuff first. My camera ain't working the
Oh,
right way. It's
okay.
got cameras pointing the wrong way, doing the wrong things. So you gotta figure that out. So gotta go to the camera that I want, but it's broken. Y'all ready? You got your macaroni and cheese ready already, Janika? Bart, you been smoking your oxtails? I don't know what you make,
I
man.
don't think so.
Bart
I,
looked like he got one of them big barbecue grills. Like the big barrel. Well, how much y'all want to bet Bart a big barrel barbecue grill
you,
with
you
like
know
the chicken on it
you're
and
gonna
all
lose
that?
that bet. You're gonna lose that bet big time.
Seriously? Oh man, I thought you would have like the
I'm,
one with the chimney on the side of it.
I'm the guy who shows up to people's house who have that. That's what I do.
All right. So you're smarter than I gave you credit for. Because that is definitely the best move. Go to somebody else's house. You don't have to do nothing. That's what I do too. So we're good. We're good. Let's see. See if this camera will work again. Still ain't working the way I wanted to. Eric, how are you doing today?
I am fabulous. How you doing? How's everybody?
Oh, life is good, man. Life is very good.
Mhm.
Oh, no complaints at all. No complaints at all. So let's see. All right. So I'll let Ange take some questions while I try to get this stuff fixed on my side.
Okay, great. Any questions about anything?
Yeah, I have one
Sure.
reference that the one sheet on SpeakerHub. If I'm just standing by for a technical person to reach out to me for that.
Say that again.
In reference the one sheet on SpeakerHub. I know yesterday when we created, like some of the videos didn't load up. Is there a tech person who'll reach out to me to synchronize the things that I have to go on there? Or
Yeah, I'll go through that with you because what happened in the past is that people would upload videos, but we disabled that. Now you have to upload them to YouTube and then put the YouTube link in there and then it'll show, right?
Okay.
So I'll walk you through that. That's no problem at all. But yeah, they used to allow for uploading of videos, but it just slowed down the server so much that we said it's easier. We know YouTube works. YouTube's fast. YouTube is HD. It just eliminated a lot of our need for support
Okay.
by getting rid of us trying to be a video host.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yep.
Eric, anything else from yesterday? New thoughts, ideas?
I just want to jump on, and I learned so much yesterday. I figure I'll learn more today. So
Oh yeah, I'm gonna do some teaching today. I'm gonna do
yeah,
our Black Friday
yeah,
seminar today that we're gonna be mailing out. So
okay.
you all get to hear how I think about speaking and what I think is on for us in 2025. I believe 2025 it's probably the best year ever to be a thought leader or a speaker. So I'm going to express and show you the data behind that.
I agree 100%. Absolutely.
Hi,
So
Ann. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. You have any questions before we get started? I see that you're in the car, so if not, it's okay. But I remember you saying there was someone else from your team who would join as well to help you get those bookings and get going with that.
Yes, and we had the wrong Zoom link. I'm driving, so that's why I'm not on camera. So I was trying to drive and scroll backwards to get the right Zoom link. So they're trying to find the Zoom link. I did get it. Further back in the thread. Is it possible? The Zoom link is the same all the time, right?
Yes.
It never
And
changes.
it's at the top of our website at speakerhub.com. Join
At the top
if you
of it.
click
Okay.
there.
Okay.
But
Okay.
I'll send it
Thank
to
you.
you on WhatsApp also. You're welcome.
Thank you so much. All right, that's it for me. I'm just listening. Thanks. Well, they'll be on, but I'm starting to join too myself. Thank you.
Perfect.
You're welcome.
All right. So let me see. I think I'm ready to go. We are in prime time. This is an exciting time, guys. I'm super duper 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 amped about speaking in 2025. As I was putting this together, I'm like, ooh, this is gonna be sweet. But now I get to show you guys. So right. So on the video, I have to make a different change, but here I'll just go through it. Right. All right. So let me download this and let's make it happen. Ange, do you have recording on your side?
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna record over here too, just to make sure that it's working. And close all the stuff. And here we go. All right, that silence is awkward, but it's what I set it up for. So I guess it's my fault.
We're waiting for the man, the myth, the legend to start speaking. That's what it is.
Yeah, I don't know about that part. I mean, the only part I can guarantee is that I am a man. The other parts are questionable. The myth and the legend, yeah, that's questionable, but I am a man. I can guarantee that part of it. Let's see, download all slides.
Hi, Michelle. Thank you for joining us.
Michelle, good to see you.
Good to see y'all too.
So tell us a little bit about you, Michelle. This is your first time with us?
No, I was on the call with NSA last night. I'm here with Ann McNeil.
Okay, perfect. What'd you think about my crappy presentation yesterday?
It wasn't crappy. It was good.
You see how I set her up? See how I baited her for a compliment? That is great. No, you know what? While I'm working on something here, can you give us a little bit of feedback about the concepts that were they concepts that you had heard before?
Some of them works. I've sat in on some of your previous calls as well. But overall, it was a great call. You walked through the whole process as far as getting set up into SpeakerHub and what SpeakerHub can exactly do for you. And there's so much power behind this tool that it's definitely going to be a great tool to help us.
This meeting is being recorded.
Sorry about that. I didn't do that in your ear.
No worries. To help us gain momentum with our speaking business.
No, that's pretty cool. And so what I'm going to do today is we're actually going to be offering Black Friday. I mentioned that yesterday to a lot of folks on the call, but I'm actually going to, in our 1 hour today, I'm going to do the Black Friday presentation so that I have an audience first. I'm not just talking to myself, but also I can get this recorded to get it out to everyone else. Now, the cool thing about what we're doing here at SpeakerHub is that we realize the power that we have when it comes to being able to help people to get booked on more stages. And I think sometimes we underestimate that power because everybody feels like family and friends who are on these calls. But behind the scenes, our team is working like super duper 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 hard to make this thing go. So Ange, are you recording on your side?
Yes, I am. It's recording and taking notes to
The
Okay.
recording
the
has
Fathom
stopped.
software.
All right, so I stopped it on here so I can start over, and then I can finally show my face. And yeah, this is going to be really cool, guys. I'm super duper excited about this. So let me start it, and then it's going to be interactive. So it's not one, me just preaching at you. It's Bible study, as I like to say. So let's
This
see.
meeting is being recorded.
All right, so here we go. Let me share my screen. I appreciate you all hopping on today so we can talk about this super duper duper Black Friday deal, but this is beyond Black Friday. This is the introduction to 2025 and speaker launch. And what I really want to talk about today is how do you jumpstart your 2025 goals as a speaker? And the idea behind this is that if we can help you to get to where you're trying to go, it makes it a lot easier for everybody because the people that you can help, they get the help, and then you get the satisfaction of knowing that you've helped them. So I want to ask you a quick question. If you reached out to 1,200 decision makers, whether they were podcasters, associations, conferences, and media outlets over the next 12 months, do you think you would get invited to speak more? Right? And in order to pitch 1,200 opportunities in 2025, it only really requires you to reach out to 100 people per month or 5 people per business day. It takes about 10 minutes to complete. Do you think if you did this in 2025, you would be invited to speak more? This simple daily task can have a huge effect on your life and your business in 2025. And I'm going to ask you again, if you reached out to 5 decision makers a day over the next 12 months, do you think you would get invited to speak more? If your answer is no to this question, please stop watching, leave the group immediately, and enjoy the rest of your day, your Christmas. Don't come back over to SpeakerHub because we can't help you. I'm just being real with you. We can't help you if the answer to that question is no. But if you're still watching, I want to make a public guarantee that has stood now for 6 years. If you reach out to 1,200 decision makers over the next 12 months and you're not invited to share your message on a podcast, an association, a conference, or media outlet, I will give you a full refund of what you paid to SpeakerHub plus $1,000, no questions asked. Now, that's a crazy put up or shut up guarantee that most people wouldn't make to you. Why? Because they can't deliver on what they promise. Most people have bought a coaching program and they didn't get what they promised, right? We've all gone to a restaurant and ordered something and they didn't bring us what we ordered. But this is my personal belief and how much I believe in the systems and the formulas that I'm about to share with you today, right? So, do you accept the challenge? If I gave you the systems, I gave you the contact information for all 1,200 people, I provided you the support and the accountability with other speakers just like you, would you do the work you needed to get booked more? That's your challenge in 2025, right? Would you do the work, right? If you would, let's keep going. So I'm going to do a little pop quiz. What do you all think? Bart, do you think the speaking industry is growing or dying?
Growing.
Growing. Eric, you think it's growing or dying? What you think?
Growing more than ever before.
Growing. Yeah, you're right. Public speaking and coaching has a market value in 2019 was $1.9 billion. It should be almost 2.4 million in 2025. And that's just the public speaking and coaching section, right? But most of us are doing something a bit larger than just public speaking. We're in the online education business. Do we think that that's growing or dying?
Growing.
Right? Eric, what do you think?
Same answer.
Yeah. Online education was worth $49 billion in 2023, and it should 5x up to $325 billion over the next 8 years. That's a 23% growth rate. That's huge, right? And what about e-learning? E-learning is even bigger. E-learning will be $1 trillion opportunity because of AI. We will have more online courses that were built than ever before because the things that you and I teach, the resilience training and the what is it? Active shooter preparation training. They're not teaching that in college. Someone has to be an individual specialist that's willing to take that information and training to the world. This is the growth curve for the speaking industry. That's why 2025 is the best year to become a speaker, coach, trainer, or expert. Now, here's the problem. Being just a speaker won't be enough going forward because all the coaches are becoming speakers, but a lot of speakers don't want to become coaches. So if you're just saying, I'm only going to be a speaker from going forward, you're going to lose because the coaches are coming into your area. They're not only coming into your area, they're coming into your area and speaking for free. A lot of them are just as good as speakers as you guys are, but they don't want to be paid up front because they know they have a product or a service to sell from the stage, right? So that's the one thing you got to make sure we're accountable for. The second thing is only doing live and in-person stages won't be enough. If you're not on a podcast, if you're not doing virtual events like this, if you're not doing small groups, if you're not doing those things, you will lose to your competition who's willing to do it. The world is no longer just a live stage. If you were to think of your 5 favorite speakers, you would probably say that you've never heard them all live and in person before. So that's the importance of being on multiple stages and being able to reach your audience where they are. And here's the third thing. AI will replace those who won't adapt, but empower those that do. If all you're doing is putting out an ebook, AI gonna do that. If all you're gonna do is give a bland talk on something that you haven't lived, AI is gonna be able to do that. They got AI clones now, right? But AI has been put here for us as humans to be more human, right? Because we can get the information from everywhere, you can't get the I give a damn from everywhere. And that's what we're able to do as humans, as speakers and coaches on the stage. We can actually give us something, if that makes sense. Substitute whatever 4-letter word you want to substitute. But you're able to do that as a human and a robot can't. So the AI is going to help to empower those who use it. So here's what you're going to expect from me today over the next 30 minutes or so. I'm going to give you a proven formula to back up that guarantee that I showed you earlier. And you should walk away with the ability to build authority and visibility, the ability to consistently get booked for speaking gigs without needing to be famous. You just got to have the skills and the work ethic. And you should be able to turn any speech into a profitable and scalable speech so that you can actually build a business and do this full time. Now, I want to show this. This is what the speaking business looked like to most speakers. It's a maze. I go this way, I turn this way, I bought this course, I bought this training, I bought this system, it did work, I did this, I did that, and they never make it to the finish line, right? We spend a lot of time hoping and trying to figure it out. But it appears that our competition, they appear to be thinking outside of the box. They're not trying to figure their way through the maze. Somebody gave them a cheat code, right? And here's the key. Sometimes you just got to change the rules. Who cares about thinking outside of the box and following the rules? You got to make your own rules. And that's what I figured out. That's what works. So let me show you something. Why do you think most speakers fail? Well, I know it's not a lack of discipline. You guys show up here every day. You all are working, you go to work every day. It's not a lack of discipline. It's not procrastination. It's not a lack of confidence. It's not shiny object syndrome going from one thing to another. It's not a lack of intelligence. You're pretty smart people. But what we found is that, oh yeah, I forgot about this one. It ain't even bad coaching. A lot of the coaches know what they're talking about. But here's the problem. It's a lack of leverage. We don't have leverage in the things that we do. And the success of any business favors those who have leverage on their side. Now, let's talk about what I mean when I say this. Bart, 4 types of leverage. First one is capital. This gives you money to invest to make things easier. This allows you to buy coaching and other systems to leverage other people's experience and IP. You know, I'm sure Ann McNeil could give me a lot of feedback on my presentation. I could use my money to buy her 20 years of speaking expertise, right? That's leverage. The second form of leverage is cooperation, working with others to make things easier. Ange works for SpeakerHub. That's a cooperative leverage. The time that she spends, I don't have to spend doing something, right? So I can leverage other people's time. The third form of leverage is code. We're using Zoom for me to be able to talk to you right now, 6,000 miles away in Colombia, but it feels like I'm in the room with you. You can hear me just as clear, and the video is 4K, right? So you can leverage other people's systems using code. And the fourth way is content. You can use networks to make it easier. You can leverage other people's relationships, right? Last night, I was with Michelle and an NSA event. It was their relationship with their customers that I was leveraging when I was creating that content. How many of you all have all four forms of leverage right now in your business? Eric, do you have all four?
To some extent, but not as much as I want.
Okay. Bart, you using all four?
Yeah, I'm going to agree with Eric there.
Okay, right. And Michelle, what about on your team with Ann? Are you using all four forms of leverage in you all's business? Right. So what we know is that if a lot of people are using them, but not in a synchronized order. And that's what I want to help you with today. I'm going to show you how you can put a formula. It's a basic formula. It's 5 ingredients that you can follow. Nobody's ever seen this outside of SpeakerHub. We're the only people this is the first time we're going to show this to anybody, right? But it's a proven formula to show you how to do these things. Now, why should you listen to me? I've worked with over 1,000 speakers. I booked over 10,000 meetings with event planners over the last 6 years or so. I not only had to learn these things, I put my money where my mouth was. I went and bought the companies that already had the expertise to do these things. So these are the companies that I've purchased over the last 6 years in order to build what SpeakerHub is today. So I don't only talk it, I walk it. But here's what I've learned. This is the main thing I learned from owning 5 contacts. I learned that you can book beginning and experienced speakers just by contacting the event planners directly. You don't have to wait for somebody to discover you. You can just reach out to them. Second thing I learned from PitchDB was that being a guest on a podcast can generate more revenue than most speakers make doing live gigs. Nobody wants to tell you that. But you can make more money being a professional podcast guest than what you can as a professional speaker. But imagine if you put them both together. It's not an either or game, guys. It's a yes and. I do this and I do that, right? Once I figured that out, it was a cheat code. I never needed to travel from Colombia anymore to go do live events. I could just do them from the comfort of my home here. But then with PR pitches, I learned that having a column in a national publication validates thought leaders, and it will 2x your speaking fee. If we introduced Eric as Eric, the owner of studiospeaking.com, he could claim a certain amount of revenue from that, like as a speaking fee. But if I said Wall Street Journal columnist Eric F. King, who also owns studiospeaking.com, he probably could charge an extra $3,000 to $5,000 just because of that Wall Street Journal branding that's on him. Written publications are still the validators of thought leaders, and everybody should be able to. But I learned something else with SpeakerHub. I didn't believe this until I owned the company. I learned that 95% of speakers who aren't famous, for them, inbound leads are not enough to reach your goals. That's why you're watching this. Because if inbound leads were enough, you would have never clicked on this about how to get more bookings in 2025. But here's what we know. I want to give you the exact thing that you could do. It works for everybody. I just had to set the context of how I learned this. This is why you should listen to me. With working with those 300 speakers, last year, we learned that proactively pitching is the way to get on the stages that you want to be on. The second thing we learned is that you have to use one stage to get a bigger stage. Everybody doesn't start off at the beginning in front of 5,000 people, right? For most people, if a TED Talk was their first talk, it's going to be their worst talk. Let me say it again. If a TED Talk is your first talk, it's going to be your worst talk. Because our first time on the stage is our worst. There's nowhere, you want to go up, but you got to use smaller stages to get bigger stages, right? The third growth hack is you got to learn to give profitable free speeches. This is really important because I hear it all the time. I don't want to speak for free. Cool, don't, right? There's only 3 ways to get paid, guys. You can get paid from showing up, you can get paid during the event, and you can get paid after the event. It's your responsibility to choose how you would get paid. With a TED Talk, they don't pay to do TED Talks. So how do you get paid from a TED Talk? Well, you had better have some systems set up to capture leads after the event or to follow up and get other clients out of the audience. That's called a profitable free speech. That's why everybody wants to do a TED Talk, because they want people to see them on YouTube and be able to get clients from it by posting it on their social media accounts. And then the fourth growth hack that I learned from those other speakers was that you need to invest in the right people and tools. That's part of that capital thing, the leverage. All 4 of these growth hacks have leverage. By proactively pitching, I'm leveraging my work ethic. By using one stage to get another stage, I'm leveraging the small stage to get on the big stage. By learning to give profitable speeches, I'm leveraging my need to not need the capital right now in order to get more capital down the road from a client, consulting gig, or something else. I'm leveraging this one free stage to get a paid stage. Do you see how leverage is in all of this? Is this making sense, Eric? Right? This leverage thing is really important, right? But also, I can invest in the right people and tools. I can get the right training. I can get the right accountability. I can get all of the things that I need. So, let me ask you another question. Does having a great keynote alone guarantee you speaking gigs? No. There are a lot of great speakers who are not on stage, right? So let me give you the guaranteed way to get speaking gigs. All of that I've said over the last 10 minutes was to set this up. Because if you don't believe all the stuff that I just talked about, none of the stuff going forward will make sense. So here's our formula. We call it the speaker launch formula, and it's basically spells the word space. We are very focused on getting you off the ground and getting you up into the atmosphere where you can be who you were designed to be. What do they say? If you shoot for the moon, at least you land in the stars. Some goofy like that. That's our attitude also. At least you land in the clouds, right? But let me tell you what space means. It's basically S times P plus A equals CE. Well, that sounds a bit too scientific. So let me give you a couple of the answers. The CE stands for consistent engagements, because I know that's what you want. But what's the S, P, and the A that gets you those consistent engagements? Well, the first one is a strategy. You gotta have a strategy in order to start out. A lot of us wake up every morning, we don't know exactly what we're gonna do. We're just like, oh, I gotta get to work. And we're just doing all random type of stuff. But if you have a strategy, it will keep you on course. Bart, I know you're a military guy. How important is military strategy being designed before you deploy for a mission?
Yeah, extremely.
Extremely important, right? Do you think the military would ever deploy for a mission without strategy?
I pray not.
No, because it'll just be a bunch of random people shooting each other, right? So here's why strategy is important. Your goals determine your strategy. Let me say that again. Your goals determine your strategy. Oh, ask yourself these questions. How many gigs do you want to do in 2025? How much money will you like to make from those gigs in 2025? Do you have a proven plan to achieve this goal? And how much are you willing to bet on yourself to achieve that goal, right? So one guy, I don't really like the term, but I think it makes sense. He calls it gun to your head marketing. If somebody put a gun to your head and they said, if you don't achieve your goal in 2025, would you follow your current plan? A lot of us, we like, I don't know about that. I'm not willing to bet my life on my current strategy. Well, I'm about 90% there, right? I'm not willing to bet my life, but I am willing to bet my money by putting up that guarantee that if you follow our plan, we can help you to get booked more. But if you don't have a plan, can I share one with you? So here it is. It's called the Speaker Flywheel. Speaker Flywheel is very simple. What we found is that most talented speakers were just waiting on opportunities and relying on passive referrals and inbound leads. They had great keynotes, but they didn't have a strategy to create those predictable bookings. So over time, I figured it out. I said, you know what? Here's the big difference. The best speakers are proactive. The ones who are waiting, they're good, but they're not the best, because best is only best when known by most. Best is only best when known by most. So if Ann says she makes the best chocolate chip cookies in the world and nobody's ever tried them outside of her family, they're not going to stand the poll of who has the best chocolate chip cookies in the world. But if Ann start passing them cookies out, everybody knows about Famous Amos cookies, right? Everybody's tried Famous Amos. I think they taste terrible. But you know why everybody tried them? Because they were in every store. They were in every gas station, that little brown bag, right? So best is only best when known by most. That applies to speaking also. So let me share with you the Speaker Flywheel. This strategy applies leverage to your speaking business immediately and forever. Again, it applies leverage immediately and forever. Why is that important? Because the first foundation of it is getting people to reach out to you. You need to have your inbound set up so that people can reach out to you, whether it's a website, LinkedIn, a SpeakerHub profile. You need to have your inbound set up. But the second part of it is that you got to have your outbound set up. This has to be a part of your strategy. You need an inbound strategy and an outbound strategy, right? But the world has changed. It's no longer just about getting on one live stage. It's about using all of the stages in order to share your message. So you got to add those podcasts. Why is that important? Because when you go on a podcast, especially if you're a beginning speaker, it's proof that you know what you're talking about, right? It is proof that you know what you're talking about. And you can use that podcast episode to get the association gig if you don't have one already. Now you can make your speaker reels. You see how we're leveraging podcasts to get associations. Again, a lot of us are doing random things. I'm going to show you the leverage. Use your podcast to get the associations. Use the associations and the speaker reels to get you booked on conferences. And use that conference credential in order to get you the writing credentials that you need in order to be seen as a thought leader. This is a system of leverage, using outbound and inbound in order to get you booked on podcasts, associations, conferences, and media outlets. It's never been easier before than to do what we're doing today. This makes it clear how implementing a system of leverage is the difference between the best and the rest. The best speakers are doing all of this. How do I know? Because I work with them. Why do I work with them? Because I taught them this. This is how it works. You see, it works. We both strengthen each other. That's the cool part about it. Now, again, think of your top 5 speakers, your favorite ones, dead or alive. Have you heard them speak live and in person? Probably haven't. You've gotten caught up in their flywheel. You heard them on a podcast. You've heard them on a YouTube channel. You saw them recorded someplace. You saw their social media. They're using the flywheel with you. So why don't you use it for yourself? Is that fair? Any questions so far? I know I've been going for about 30 minutes. I want to open it up. Eric, any questions about what I just explained with the flywheel and with leverage? Do you see how that works together?
I absolutely see how it works together. Absolutely.
Any other questions or comments so far, Bart, Ange, and Michelle? Now, The cool thing about this is that the flywheel isn't one size fits all. Depending on where you are in your speaking career, you need to focus the lever in different positions. If I'm trying to go up a hill, I'm not putting my car in 6th gear. I'm gonna burn up the clutch. If I'm trying to, go down the hill, I probably, need to turn off the brake. I got to find the leverage points in order to make it work. So we designed the speaker flywheel strategy to work for speakers of all stages. Whether you're emerging, which is defined by under 3 years and charging less than $3,000, or your experience, which is 4 to 8 years and $4,000 in speaking fees, right? Or expert, 8 years, your fees are over $8,000. We have a flywheel that works for you, right? Now, why is that important? Because if you're a beginning speaker, emerging, you probably should be perfecting your message on podcasts and perfecting your stage presence at small associations. That's the only way to get better without embarrassing yourself, right? If you're an experienced speaker, you should be adding conferences to that. So not only should you still do podcast interviews, you still should do associations, and you still should be doing conferences. Tony Robbins did 240 podcast interviews 60 days prior to the release of his book in February of this year. If it's good enough for Tony, it's good enough for you. He's the world's greatest speaker in the minds of some, right? And you still should be doing media outlets. Tony is doing podcasts, association gigs with Russell Brunson, conferences that he puts on himself, and he's still in the media. He's always on CNN, Fox, or something like that, talking about what he's doing. This formula works, guys. Again, we're trying to send you into outer space. So we got the strategy. That's the S. We showed you how to implement the strategy, but the next part is the P. This is the process. You need a process that you can repeat on a daily basis. I'm a firm believer that most speakers wake up and they do random stuff. Why? Because I was an entrepreneur who I didn't have a daily process and the discipline to do it. I need to do this, I need to do that, I gotta do this, I gotta do that, I gotta do this. No, you look at my calendar, I know what I got every morning. From 6 to 9, I'm doing admin. From 9 to 10, I'm on our team call. At 12, I'm gonna be here. I don't start meetings where random people can meet with me until 1 p.m. But my goals determine that process, right? So again, I bring your goals back up because they not only affect your strategy, but they also affect the process that you will follow. Is that fair? Right? Because everybody has different goals, so everyone should be following a different process. But here's what you need to know about processes that I think gets overlooked. There are 2 types of processes. There are passive processes, which basically say, I'm not going to do anything, but I'm going to expect a result that's outside of my control. And then there's a proactive process, which says, I'm going to do something and I will expect a result within my control. Now, these 2 things lead to drastically different outcomes. So you have to know the difference between passive and proactive outcomes. Let me show you what I mean by that. I hear a lot of speakers all the time say, I only get booked based on referrals and inbound inquiries. That's passive. You have no control. That's why you always miss your goals, because you can't control the activity. You can't say, today I'm gonna get 13 leads from LinkedIn. How? It's passive. You have no control over that. You're hoping, unless you got the LinkedIn fairies that just sprinkle you leads, you have no control over that. It's a passive approach. But a proactive approach is, I can control how many outbound leads I make, how many outbound emails I send. I can control how many posts I make on LinkedIn. I can control how many outbound calls I make. This gives you control over your pipeline. And if you don't have control, you're going to lose to the people who do, because they know where to focus the point of the leverage. So here's the major key. Focus on the things you can control. The best speakers succeed by focusing on actions they can control, like outreach and content creation. There's the old prayer, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. So that means the passive things, I got to just accept those. If I get some leads, I get them. If somebody calls me as a referral, I get it. Cool, that's passive. I got to accept that I can't change that. But I also have to have the courage to change the things that I can. Meaning I can control my outbound. I can control how much content I make. I can control how many podcasts I go on. But I got to be smart enough to know the difference. A lot of us are thinking that passive approaches, such as waiting on referrals, is a proactive activity, and it's not. Right? So y'all know this prayer. Y'all learned this when y'all was 6. It still applies to every other aspect of business. Right? I see Bart got his praying hands on his necklace. He's like, yep, I got it. That's his little reminder, right? So
the back of it is a serenity prayer.
there it is. So you live in it. Right? I had no idea, right? But can you control the number of invites you receive? No. Can you control the number of daily actions you take to get invited? Yes. That's why we talk about the process. Again, the strategy is determined by your goals. Your goals also determine the process. So depending on what level of speaker you are, we have a recipe for you. Why? Because we sent 500,000 pitches last year for speakers of all spectrum, from a beginner all the way up to famous people like Les Brown. We've pitched a lot of people for stages, right? So when I look here, this is the formula. If you're a new speaker, you need to be reaching out to 2 podcasts a day and 3 associations. At the end of the year, it should get you on 48 podcasts and 12 speaking gigs. This puts you in the top 15% of all speakers in the world. Why? Because the average speaker only does 5 gigs. So if you're emerging, you can beat 90% of your competition just by spending 10 minutes a day or whatever, 15 minutes a day, sending these 5 pitches. If you're an experienced speaker, we have a formula for you. You need to be reaching out to 2 podcasts, 3 associations, and 5 conferences. This is for the experienced speaker that still has a job and he's working part-time as a speaker. He has a full-time job in the daytime, but he speaks every once in a while. He's not willing to give up his pension or his credibility at the big company, but he still wants to share what he knows. You should be on 48 podcasts a year, 12 association gigs, and be doing at least 1 conference every quarter. And if you're a full-time speaker, this is what you do and what you want to do. You want to do this full-time? We know exactly what you should be doing. Why? Because your competition's doing it. How do I know? Because I work with them. You need to be reaching out to 4 podcasts, 6 associations, 8 conferences, and 2 publications. Imagine what your world would look like if you were on 100 podcasts in 2025. If you did 2 association small group speaking gigs a month, and you did 2 conferences, large group conferences a quarter, and you also write 4 magazines, you would be unstoppable. This makes you a 1% speaker. And the only difference is the activity. You don't have to be famous to get this. Everybody on this call today can do these basic things and get these basic outcomes. But you got to have leverage. So the main thing that I always tell people is, well, if I do this and I do that, I want to be better than this. Look, every approach is going to be different based on your topic, your audience, and where you're located in the world, right? Imagine if I went into a gym and I pulled up my shirt and I said, I looked at a trainer and I said, how many sit-ups do I need to do to get a 6-pack? You'd be like, dude, I don't know. It depends on what you eat, how often you come here to work out. But that's what we get asked all the time. How many pitches I need to send to get a gig? As many as it takes, right? But we will make a guarantee to you that if you send those 5 pitches a day in 2025, you reach out to 1,200 organizations. Remember, you're only here because you made it past the second slide that said that you believe that if you sent 1,200 pitches, you would get booked someplace, right? You would get booked more. So we're just saying, be patient and find your number, the number that works for you. Is that fair, guys? Any other questions so far? So we know what the S is, which is strategy. We know what the P is, which is process. Would you like to see how I can make it where you can do these things in 5 minutes? I'm going to share my screen with you and show you something called SpeakerHub Pro. SpeakerHub Pro is our software that gives you access to all of the data. Remember I said, if I gave you all the contact information, would you be able to do it? SpeakerHub Pro is our software that gives you access to all of the contact information. 3.5 million podcasts are here. 209,000 associations, 170,000 media outlets, and 45,000 conferences. So basically, I can come inside of SpeakerHub Pro, put in a little bit of basic information into my bio here, right? And instantly, it's going to go ahead and pitch me to the right places. So I'm going to change this to my company, SpeakerHub. All right, let's do this really quickly. I'm located in Medellin, and I help speakers to get booked more on stage, right? So once I do that, and I hit regenerate with AI, it's going to go out, look at my bio, look at my website, look at my LinkedIn, and write a new bio for me. And the AI is going to automatically start matching me with the right podcast, the right speaking gigs, and the right press outreach. So give it about 5 more seconds, and there it is. A Ron Story, a passionate speaker and coach from Medellin, Colombia, with years of experience, blah, blah, blah. So now when I click on podcast, all of a sudden I'm getting personal branding podcast. I didn't search for anything. The AI automatically gave it to me. If I wanted to go on Bernard's podcast, I could click on it, listen to an episode to make sure it was a great fit, but then I can add it to a list and send them a pitch within 15 seconds, which is what I'm going to do. So what you just see here is the system coming through. It's looking at my bio, looking at that podcast, and actually writing the pitch. This is the process. If you have a stable strategy and you have a process that's this simple, how can you lose? In 15 seconds, I wrote this pitch, personalized to me and Bernard about that podcast. Look, Ma, no hand. I didn't have to do anything but approve it. This is what we're talking about. This is leverage. This is leveraging code, right? You see how I leverage code? Boom. There it is. I leverage code in order to do this. I used AI. If you're not using AI in your pitching process, how do you compete with those who are? You're at a disadvantage to people like Bart, who already is using our system, or Janika, who's using it. So I want to make sure that you have the same opportunity. So SpeakerHub is going to give you the complete system in order to do everything you need to do in order to succeed. No matter what level of speaker you are, it should work for you, right? But guess what? We've learned over the last 6 months since we took over SpeakerHub, even with a strategy like the Flywheel and a process like the easy software that I gave you, you saw the software 15 seconds, people still don't do it. I noticed they still struggle to implement the speaker launch formula. They got the strategy, they got the S, they got the P, they got the process, right? But they were missing the third thing, right? They were missing the A, accountability. That's why they get inconsistent engagements. But if they had accountability, I know that they will go to the moon. Why? Because we have examples like Jadika. She shows up every day. She sends her pitches every day. She has a progress report every week. I don't know how else to say it. I mean, it's how it works, right? And we'll may ask her to come up to talk about her experience, but consistency and accountability is important. But let's define why accountability matters. Even the best tools and strategies won't work without consistency. And that's where our accountability comes in. The Speaker Launch community ensures that you stay on track, stay motivated, and keep moving forward, right? So where does accountability start? For most people, accountability doesn't start until after they're booked, when everybody's watching. The host holds you accountable for being on time. The audience holds you accountable for giving it your best. But where's the accountability before you get booked? When nobody's watching. When you're in that office by yourself, like I'm in here, are you going to be on Instagram or are you going to be sending pictures? The problem with being a speaker is that we usually work alone. We usually we've let ourselves down in the past, so we stop setting goals. So we don't even want to be held accountable to ourselves. because we don't even tell our goal. If I ask you today, that's why I kept bringing it up. What's your 2025 goal? A lot of you didn't write anything down. A lot of you all refuse to set goals anymore because you've let yourself down in the past. It removes the accountability. But you can't be accountable to a process that's not repeatable. Again, you can't be accountable to a process that's not repeatable. Let me give you an example of this. How many people ever had fries at McDonald's? Dr. Sharon, you ever had fries from McDonald's? In the same city, you had them in multiple cities. Multiple cities, right? Now, you've had these fries in multiple cities. Did they taste different? They put seasoning salt on the ones in Miami and mustard salt on the ones in New York and lemon pepper on the ones from LA? No. They got a repeatable process to make sure that the little bitty skinny fries are crispy if you eat them when they're out the grease. But once you put them in a bag, they're going to be soggy. That is a process that was perfected by McDonald's. That's why everybody reach in the bag and eat their fries before they go home. But you can't have predictable results without a repeatable process. That's why we wanted to make sure you had the strategy. That's why we wanted to make sure you had a repeatable process in the software. But we have to give you some accountability. You can't be held accountable to a process that's not repeatable. So, who holds you accountable for your speaking career? You don't have to answer that to me because it doesn't matter, but you have to answer that to yourself. And for those of you all who don't have someone to do that, we're going to offer you the opportunity for us to hold you accountable. So there's only two types of people that can hold you accountable. Someone that has been where you're trying to go. Why? Because they know what it already takes. They already know how hard it is, and they know the rewards. If my daughter, who just turned 3 yesterday, was going to go and be a professional basketball player, I would send her to Ange because Ange has already played professional basketball. I wouldn't send her to her mama. Her mama can't dribble water out of a cup, not to mention dribbling a basketball. Right? So I would send her to somebody who's already been where I want my daughter to go regarding her basketball career. The second person that can hold you accountable is someone who is going to the destination with you. Why? Because they have a vested interest in you doing your part. If I'm in the car with you, I am definitely going to hold you accountable to not driving like an idiot because I want to make it to the place too. I don't want to die, right? But the second thing is that they understand their role is just as important as yours. It's a teammate, right? And their commitment will mirror yours. You got a lazy teammate at work, guess what? Your work goes down. You got somebody that's killing you, like, I can't let this dude show me up. Your work got to go up because he making you look bad. Those are only two people that can hold you accountable. Someone that has been where you're trying to go and somebody who's going with you where you're trying to go. So when you have a community holding you accountable, you're going to show up. You're going to take action and see the results faster than ever. Why? Because all humans run away from something called shame. The pain of sending the pictures is a lot less than the pain of showing up and hearing Jadika complain why you didn't do the work and you holding back her team. It's different. I don't want to argue with Bart. I'm going to do my part so that Bart don't, bring out his army training and start punching me on the top of my head, right? But accountability is effective because of that, because we have the fear of being embarrassed, right? So this is the Speaker Launch formula. It's strategy times process plus accountability leads to consistent engagements. When you have all three elements working together, the results don't just add up, they multiply. That's called leverage, right? But if you're missing even one of them, the results no longer are predictable. Without a system, you're doing random things hoping to get results. Without pitching or being proactive, right? Like a process, you're invisible to all the event planners. And without accountability, you lose focus and momentum. Is this fair? So, ask you again. What are your goals for 2025? How many gigs do you want to have? How much money do you want to make? Do you have a proven plan and system to get there? And how much are you willing to bet on yourself? I can tell you what your bet is. You're already betting it. that answer to that second question. So if you said, my goal for 2025 is to make $100,000, you're betting $100,000 on yourself. Because if you don't get there, guess what you lost? 100 grand. But if you do it and you achieve the goal, you got it. You get the 100 grand. So would you like to join those who we've helped to get booked in the past? This is your opportunity to walk over top of that goofy names and get the cheat code. Imagine a predictable flow of gigs in 2025. Here's some of our results. Say, Ron, she started with us in August, asked me 3 hours worth of questions, met with me 10 times, and she said, okay, I'm gonna try it, but you gotta promise. You'll promise. I need it to be quick. If it don't work, I need my money back. In the first 6 weeks, she was booked, I think, on 20 podcasts and for 2 speaking gigs, right? Now, the results aren't typical, but I'm just telling you that this is what's happened. These are real results. This is another one. Another one. I'm sounding like DJ Khaled. Another one, right? We booked all types of things. My first out-of-state, all expense paid thing. Ron, I got a discovery call from a second meeting. We got a lot of these. But the cool thing about it is that I have someone here, Janika, who's on, and I'm going to ask her, because I asked her this before, to share. She's been working with us for about a month. I want her to share what her experience has been, because she's been through the accountability and all the other things that we provide. Janika, would you mind sharing with us?
No problem. All I can say is once you have a system in place, it works. And SpeakerHub is your system. I started doing the podcast. I'm coming back into the speaking arena. So it's like I'm starting fresh with a new process based on the SpeakerHub. And with the SpeakerHub, all I've had to do, let me back up a minute. One thing I can say is Ron was talking about accountability, and my first lesson in accountability was dealing with what's called the board ledge. And on the ledge, you have everybody is competing for how many podcasts they can do within that week. And I said, okay, let me check. There's one person on there who had been on the top of the list for the longest time. So I said, okay, let me see how I can join him. And so last week, I was able to put together 243 submissions of podcasts. And out of that, I have, right now, I'm looking at a total of roughly about 25 confirmed bookings for podcast guests starting this month, going all the way into February. So it works. You send out your lead, you follow the system using AI, and it will get you the results. And that's all I can say is it's a click, done for you. Now the work comes in terms of doing the first step of the emerging is getting your getting your message on as many podcasts as you can. And I'm saying it's working. All you have to do is join the SpeakerHub commitment and let it work for you.
No, that's pretty cool. Now, what she left out, I think you got a speaking gig out of a podcast, because a lot of times people ask me, well, I don't want to do podcasts, I want to do speaking gigs. So can you tell the story of how one of the podcasts, I don't want to destroy it. I don't want to bury the lead.
Well, what happened was I'm applying to just be a podcast guest, and the host got back to me and said, well, we're doing an event on December 14th. And I could see what you're doing would be a good fit for our event. And so she asked me if I would do a presentation at her event. And I wasn't looking to do presentation. I was just looking to be a guest on a podcast. But the other thing too that Ron has shared with us, and I'm sure Bart remember this also too, what this host asked me to do is something that I normally do, and I'm not really pushing that. And it's about going back to your old stuff. That's something they wanted. And so she wants me to do something that I did for a long time and caught myself moving away from, but you have to go back in the hat and pull out some of your work and present it based upon what what the person that you're working with wants. And so that's another thing I learned in terms of looking at what I have done and it still works and putting that back on the table again. So this is what happens, like you never know what's going to come out as you start submitting your request to be a podcast guest. And so out of that came a speaking event.
Enough said, right? I don't need to say nothing else. That's it. That's a big deal. 20-some podcasts. How many of you have 20 going forward? How many have you already done? And you just started with us in the beginning of November, right?
Yes, I did. And right now I've done 10.
Holy crap. She's already been interviewed on 10 and she has another 20 in the deck, right? And that's because that's what she's focused on. Remember, our challenge at the beginning was if you reached out to 1,200 people, do you think you would grow your speaking business in 2025? And my response was, if you did and it didn't work, I would give you a refund plus $1,000. That's how much I believe in the speaker launch formula. So that leads me to this. I'm going to invite you to join Speaker Launch. And here's what you're going to get, right? Before I get to that, what's one paid gig worth to you? Is it $2,000, $5,000, 12, 20? Depending on the level of speaker you are, it could be whatever you want it to be. But imagine how would you feel if you were consistently getting booked at that price? If somebody booked me every day and gave me $1,000, I would be $1,000 speaker, right? Because I would make $350,000 next year just doing a gig a day for $1,000. That would be my dream job, right? So I know how I would feel if I was consistently booked at that price. But how much time and money are you going to save by eliminating a lot of this stuff? All the Google searches we do looking for podcasts and speaking gigs, creating all the spreadsheets, buying other podcast matching software, buying ChatGPT, having a complicated CRM, right? Using expensive cold email validation, all of this stuff that people end up doing that doesn't work, right? SpeakerHub is designed to give you everything you need all in one place, not all over the place. So imagine being able to get rid of all of this junk that you don't need. That would be a game changer. So I had two choices to make. I was like, I can make this as cheap as possible in order to help as many people. But the problem is that we would burn through our leads super duper fast. If we gave everybody a SpeakerHub Pro account for free, every organizer in there would contact me and tell me to take them out of our database. Why you got all these people emailing me, right? No event host wants to receive 300 emails a day from strangers. Also, that idea to motivate me to, to give you all extra stuff. I'm like, if I'm gonna make $1 per thing, this ain't worth it, right? But choice number 2 was to require a decent upfront investment to get you access. But in exchange, we will be able to preserve the value of those leads, right? We can keep out the people that really aren't committed to being a speaker. If you ain't ready for it, don't buy this, right? Wait until you're ready. But we want to keep you all out so that we can keep the people that are committed in and they can get on the stages that they deserve to be on. But lastly, it allows my team to focus on those few that are committed to following the flywheel, instead of having to deal with those who want to fight more than they want to speak. I'm not going to argue with you about the flywheel. It's what we believe, it's what we teach. It's what we know. If you don't want to use it, please don't buy SpeakerHub. Please go over to some other system because we live and die by the flywheel. It's our gun to the head marketing. We believe that. We had to bet everything. If my best friend came to me and said, I got $1,000 and I need to make some money in the next 60 days, what I would tell them to do is start getting on podcasts instantly. That would be the first thing. And then I would tell them, hey, take those podcast interviews that you get this week and start sending them over to associations and start doing training on that stuff that you learned while you were in the military. And once you get those videos, start sending those to other ones and get more. And you should be speaking every day, going on a podcast and speaking at some association about leadership. That's how much I believe in the flywheel. So we're not going to fight with you about that, right? But picture waking up every day with a plan, actively moving closer to your next biggest stage, right? We will help you to implement the flywheel and the daily accountability. We already demonstrated. We're here every day at noon. Every day at noon, we're on this call. Anybody can come in, whether you're a SpeakerHub customer or not. So here's the thing. There's 3 different levels. I'm going to skip a little bit through these, and I just want to get to what you get. Here's what you get. You're going to get guided training modules. Basically, we're going to show you our playbook for podcasts, our playbook for associations, our playbook for conferences, our playbook for media outlets, our playbook for inbound leads, and our playbook for outbound leads. You get expert-led office hours, not just from us, but we also have an ambassador program with 15 of the top speakers in the world who have agreed to come in and do a training every once in a while for those who are in the accelerator. We also are working out a deal with a big name that's a legend in the game that's going to come in and help you all also to show you our impact and reach and how other people believe in what we do here at SpeakerHub. You get weekly personalized feedback. We have professional designers, professional copywriters that are willing to look over your things if you're a part of the accelerator. Interactive Q&A with industry leaders. I know a lot of folks. Last month, we put on 37 speakers at the Pro Speaker Summit. All of those guys are my friends. I can bring them in to help you. They're not better off. They're just further down the street, right? And we definitely going to have this accountability and goal setting. So here's what you get. Here's what you get all together. You get a plan that's not even available. It's called the SpeakerHub Pro Full-Time Speaker Plan. You can't find this on our website. I designed this specifically for Black Friday. It gives you access to all 3 million of our podcasts, all 209,000 of our associations, all 107,000 of our media outlets, and our 45,000 conferences. You're allowed to pitch 400 of those every month with unlimited follow-ups, right? The regular retail price of this plan would have been $6,000 a year with a $1,500 sign-up and training fee. But it's Black Friday, so I'm doing something better. Instead of having you pay every year, we're going to give you lifetime access. You will pay one time for access to this. Not every month, one time. We also are going to waive the sign-up fee. But wait, there's more. Why is that important? This is $60,000 if you were to pay for it every year, and another $1,500 if there was the sign-up fee. But we're also going to give you a discount because it's Black Friday and most of you all are already SpeakerHub customers. The total value of that is $64,495. Here are all of the things you get. It ain't just that. That's just the first part. The SpeakerHub original gold page, you get that for life. You don't pay that monthly, you get it for life. Normally it's $349 a month. You get one of those for life. You get the ChatGPT integration. You get the Speaker CRM. You get access to those 37 Pro Speaker Training Summits, Pro Speaker Summit trainings. You get access to our Speaker Flywheel and those manuals, the playbooks I mentioned, all of that. You get the professional checklist, the SOP library. Ange herself has made like 20 courses that she's recorded on everything from how to look good on camera to how to write up this thing and how to reply to this thing. Ange is the genius with this, right? She's done all of those SOP libraries. I will go out and find you 1,000 leads that are not currently in SpeakerHub and give them to you. So if they're corporate leads, sales leads, whatever you want, we will give you 1,000 custom leads that you can use for yourself, upload into your personalized SpeakerHub and pitch. You get access to all future SpeakerHub features. We got a lot of stuff that we're adding. We got this QR thing, bananas, coming out. You get it included. Everyone else will have to pay more for it. We will even interview you on a podcast. Our podcast gets about 11,000 downloads per episode. We will interview you on our podcast for you to be able to tell your story about what you do. Why is that important? Our email list, including our books, our LinkedIn groups and our main email list reach over 115,000 people if we add them up together. And you also get an extra 500 pitches just for starting out. All of this together is worth $85,282. $64,000 for lifetime access to SpeakerHub Pro, $3,000 lifetime access to the Gold, and all the other things that I mentioned here. When you add all of those up, it would have been reasonable for me to say, all right, y'all should give us $6,000 for the software and $6,000 for the training, right? That would be reasonable. Why? Because we got a guarantee. If you don't get booked, we just give you the money back, right? I could have did that. That would have been cool, but I thought I could do better, right? I don't think that was the best that I could do, right? So I said, well, what if I only charge $3,000 for the accountability and the training and all of that stuff, but they just paid for the software, right? Well, that would have put it right around $8,000 or $9,000. It's Black Friday, like that ain't a real Black Friday deal. So for Black Friday, right? We got it down to $5,000, or we'll finance it at $138 a month. We don't have a plan on our website if you were to subscribe monthly for $138, right? So you can get access to SpeakerHub Pro and the accountability for 12 months with us walking you through everything, all of our playbooks, all of our extra training, all of our superstar speakers that are going to come in and work directly with you. You can get access to that today during Black Friday for $138 per month. Once it's paid off, you never pay us again. So you can pay it up front or you can pay it monthly. But once it's paid off, you never pay SpeakerHub ever again. And you keep access to all of the new updates that we make, all of the new speaker data, all the new conferences, all of the new everything. We update that every 3 months. This is what you get. In order to take advantage of the monthly payments, basically when you go to the link that I'm going to share with you, all you do is click on Affirm or Klarna. If you're in the United States, you will be able to get access to it for $138, right? So that's a typo. Don't worry about that. I'll fix that, right? But you'll be able to get access to it for $138 during Black Friday. If you're outside of the US, you got to hit me up privately. I'll be able to figure out a way for you to be able to get monthly payments. I can send you a link through PayPal or whatever you would like. But here's what we're trying to do, guys. We're an amplifier of speakers. We want to remove all the excuses that you have for not being on stage. With this deal, you get access to the speaker profile, get access to all 4 million data points. You can eliminate the CRM and paying for ChatGPT. All of those things can go away with the SpeakerHub full-time Black Friday deal that we have today. Any questions, comments, or concerns? This is what we're doing. $138 a month. Can't beat it. If it don't work, you send your money back. All right. So I'm going to stop this recording. Okay, Dr. Sharon.
No, you can. It's Dr. Sharon.
What happens to what I'm already paying per month?
Yep. So I don't know exactly which plan you have, but you can convert that into this. Right?
Yeah, because the plan I have is 2 something a month. So
yep, that's the normal.
This would work out better for me than that.
Yep. That's what Black Friday is all about. That's why it's Black Friday. It should be a deal, right?
Yeah. So I want to know what to do to make that happen.
Yep. I'm going to put the link in the chat for those who are interested. Yeah. I mean, I saw a meme that said, hey, we got enough TVs. Put these groceries on sale. I thought that was funny for Black Friday.
So Ron, my question is, do I cancel that and do this? What do you do?
Yeah, we'll convert it for you. We'll take care of all the technical conversions on our side, and we'll actually credit you back for what you have on the other one. So you'll be fine.
Yeah, so now that's a Black Friday deal. Thank you.
I told you I'm fair. I'm the best dude ever. We will give you a credit back. No question at all. Right? Dr. Sharon, you come on now. I can't believe you didn't believe in me.
I did. I just wanted to hear it out of your mouth.
Okay, all right. Hey, look, I have no problem with being as committed as I say I am. So I'm going to put the link in the chat for those who are interested. We haven't even sent this out to anyone. I think only 4 people have seen it because they've watched me practice this talk several times. But for those who are interested in the Black Friday, there's the link to buy. And it should be in the chat. It should have gone to everybody. So I know Bart already has this. So does Corey. They bought early. They got to hear my previous terrible presentations of this. Hopefully it's gotten better over the last 2 weeks. But this is how we get better. I have to practice more. I have to get on more stages. In the same way I practice what I preach. I want you all to practice and get on more stages also. Looks like we have a few new people here. We got Portia, DeBride, Nakia Jones, Janisa Abrigo. Good to see you all. Would love to have you as a part of SpeakerHub, whether you have a free account or you take advantage of the limited time lifetime deal with Black Friday, where you pay once and you're in with us forever. You get all the updates. Let me go back to it. There is a money back guarantee and it's in writing. So there's no question about if we believe what we believe. I'm going to share this with you and share with you the guarantee so that everyone on the video can see this. Right? So here's the guarantee that's on our page. 1 second. Right? Here are the guarantee terms and conditions. If you go in and you use our product for a year, give us a chance. You send out the pitches and you don't get booked, I will give you a refund. Right? That's how it works. This has been up forever. It's on all of our pages. Why? Because I don't sell stuff I don't believe in. I don't sell things that I don't use myself. So this is the guarantee and the challenge. Exciting times, guys. $138 a month. Once it's paid off, you never pay us again, but you get access to all of our speaking and training going forward. We made this deal during our beta process when we first bought the company. We got so many requests over the last 3 months. Hey, can you bring that back? Can you bring it back? Here it is for Black Friday. So any other questions?
We do have a question from Michelle. She asked, how long is the beta test for Black NSA?
The beta for Black NSA gave you, is this, wait, I don't know. Is this for you as a speaker? Because I'm confused. Is this for Ann? Or
Yes,
is this
for Ann?
Okay, so the ambassador program that Ann is a part of is 1 year, right?
Perfect. Thank you.
Yep, that's 1 year, and she gets access to this for 1 year as a SpeakerHub ambassador. Right? Any other questions? Corey, how's it going, man? How's your pitching going? You know, I know I pushed you off the boat the other day into the water.
Yeah, my hair didn't get wet, so I think I'm good.
Hey, mine didn't either.
Yeah, went well. I think the first 2 that I sent out might have been on Friday, roughly, 5-6 days ago. And then on Monday or Tuesday of this week, I sent out, it's probably Monday, roughly about 30 of them. And then I think I got a response back. I've been so busy running in and out, but a response back from 2 podcasts. One asked me if I had any other video links that I could share with them to find out if I spoke anywhere else besides on LinkedIn or had video links.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to be sending that to them. And then the other one, I think, said that I had to fill out kind of a form, but it would cost about $49 to be on their podcast with a number of different things. So I was going to ask you about that too, if that's a typical thing that sometimes they help you subsidize a little bit of the podcast, which they say cost them $250 for each podcast.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's really up to you if you feel that that's worth it. My thing is I would just pick a bunch of other ones and I would go on the paid ones after I've been on all the free ones.
Okay.
Right? So, because there's enough free ones. There's 3.5 million podcasts. So there's enough free ones for you to go on without having to pay someone to be on theirs. Right?
Yeah.
So, if you said, hey, Ron, what would I do? I could give them $49 or I can spend 10 minutes pitching another 10 and get on another one.
Right.
If I told you that I would pay you $49 for every 10 minutes you spent pitching, you would not even think about them again.
Right.
just pitch 10 more.
Yep. Makes sense.
So just pitch 10 more and you'll be fine.
Okay.
Right?
Awesome. Thank you.
Yep. Portia, Nakia, you want to introduce yourself? We would love to know where you're from. This is the SpeakerHub daily meeting that we do, where we help speakers, whether they're our customers or not, to get booked on more stages. We do this every day, Monday through Friday, from noon until 1:30. We would love to know what you talk about, what you speak about, so that maybe we can help you to get more bookings. All right. Let's see. Oh, okay. All right. Gotcha. So a lot of them work with Ann. This is Ann's team down at the bottom. Perfect. Right. And let's see. All right. And let's see. Portia or Janisa, you want to introduce yourself? Any other questions, guys? Any other things? I thank you for listening through my Black Friday presentation. Hopefully it was you learned something about leverage. You learned a lot about the process of how to do things with SpeakerHub and how important the strategy and accountability is. Corey, what's your question?
Yeah, just a real quick question. I had, and you had mentioned this before that this would happen, but sometimes the email addresses are bad. I think I had one out of the 30. And how do you recommend I handle that besides move on and go to other ones?
So inside of SpeakerHub Pro, let me see if I can share this with you. Inside of SpeakerHub Pro, when you go in and you go into mailbox, right? And you can see, let's say I'll use this one. It says update the status. You see that? Mm-hmm. When I click there, it gives me the option. Oh, it don't do it on that one. I got to send one second. It gives you the option, actually. It won't do it until I send a pitch. Let me just pitch Ezekiel and you'll see what I mean. I'll pitch myself. Where's Ezekiel? Let's see if I can do this way. I can't do it. But in that status thing, there's a thing that says report lead. So you see how it has these different options here? There's one that says report the lead, but it only shows up in sent. So once you report it, we take it out of the database for everybody.
Okay.
Right? So and it automatically will archive it for you.
Gotcha. Okay.
Got it?
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. This is exactly what we're here for. Any other questions, comments, concerns?
Good afternoon. My name is Portia. I didn't want to be rude and not respond to your request to introduce myself. I do work with Ann McNeil. That's really the main reason why I'm here. But your presentation is excellent, and thank you.
Well, no, thank you for coming. I appreciate it. I didn't know Ann was sending the army over with her today. She told us my team gonna be in there. We thought it was gonna be one person. No, so that's incredible. I'm glad you were able to join us. And we all love the lady in red. I mean, if y'all don't know Ann McNeil, she wears red every day. She has red Beats by Dre headphones, red glasses, red jackets. She drink red Kool-Aid. I mean, red wine. But no, she's a sweetheart. I really like what she's doing, and I like her as a person. So any other questions or anything about what we're doing? The first cohort of SpeakerHub speaker launch starts in December. So there will be an orientation immediately after Black Friday or Cyber Monday. We'll do an orientation with everyone that is a part of it. And then we will start getting you onboarded and ready to go so that you go into January like Janika, with podcasts already lined up, with local association gigs already lined up. We can't afford you to be behind and not getting gigs until February or March, because we'll lose 1/8 of the year or whatever. I think it's 0.8% of the year. If we divide 100 by 12, you lose, like, every month, you're losing 8% of your productivity. And we, if we lose January, the most you can get is 92, right? We want you to get 100 on the test, right? We definitely don't want you not getting ramped up until April. We need you to get started right away. So we're going to demonstrate that urgency by, once Cyber Monday is over, right into an onboarding and kind of a orientation call with everybody, assigning you your partners, who you're going to be held accountable with, and going from there. All right. So if y'all have no other questions, I'm gonna go get some lunch. Eric, questions, comments, concerns?
No questions. No concerns. I love everything. This is an incredible program. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Oh yeah, of course. Well, I look forward to having you on the other side again. $138 a month. Once it's paid off, you never pay us again, and you can continue to use our software and services for the foreseeable future of your speaking career. Hope you all have a great Thanksgiving. We won't be here tomorrow, but we will be back on Friday to answer any